Welcome back to Helsingborg, Sweden for the final day at the IPF 2019 World Classic Powerlifting Championships. I'm Gary Williams and I'm joined in the box with none other than Ryan Six-Pack Lapadap, and we are going to take you through the 120 kilo action. Then following on for that later today, we'll have the 120 pluses. The big boys, the giants of the sport, have come out to play. They've arrived. The earthquake has hit the ground. This is going to get exciting. We've got some really big lifters and some really exciting lifters on this platform today. Who's your favourite for today?
Well, full disclosure, I'm Canadian, and Canada's own.
We hadn't guessed.
The golden boy, Henrik Willis. Canada had never had an open world champion, men or women's. Last year in Calgary on Canadian soil, Henrik Willis answered the call, won us an open world championship in dramatic fashion, came down to the very last deadlift. Now he's Canada's golden boy. The son has returned 2019, but he faces stiff opposition if he wants to defend his title, particularly Britain's Tony Cliff, who's registered huge total.
Absolutely on fire lately. Won the European Championships a little while ago as well. He is looking good. He is feeling good. And, you know, I mean, if Willis wants this, he's going to have to fight for it. And we say that on a regular basis, and we haven't been proven wrong yet. It seems to come down to the last lift.
And when it comes down to the last lift, previously, Henrik, who's a phenomenal deadlifter, right down to that last deadlift, won the world championships. But this time, when he faces Tony, he can go toe-to-toe on the deadlifts, and we know how dramatic that can be.
Yeah, look, and don't forget Sadowski from Poland sitting in there as well. You know, he is one of the guys that is a real fighter. He's going to grind it out, and he's going to take the fight to you. We're getting underway here. Sri Lanka on the platform. Ransilu from Sri Lanka looking for 255. And these guys are the giants of the sport.
I had a moment in the hall. I ran into this young man. Actually, he's in the change room, but I hesitated when I introed it with. I had a moment with this man in the change room. What I mean to say is, quick conversation. He said he's going to go after a couple Sri Lankan national records and possibly Asian regional records if the opportunity should arise.
Well, looks like he's off to a good start. That was a nice-looking opening squat.
And that's something to keep in mind as well. When you see these individuals hit the platform, we call out if it's a world record. We don't necessarily call out if it's a North American, European, Asian record, national records. But these gentlemen are the top of the top, and sometimes we forget they're making history with their third attempts, whether or not it's world records biggest of all time.
A lot of them hitting national records on a regular basis here. So
they're all champions.
Michael Lidner from Austria. And coached by Robert Hofster.
265 on the bar.
Incidentally, is an uplift coach.
Is that right? So this is an uplift athlete, or?
I'm not sure if he's an uplift athlete, but he's
Gotcha.
definitely an uplift coach. And a very good one at that. And that is a nice, easy opening lift. Seems odd to say 265 looks easy.
For these fellas, and they are absolutely gigantic, very humbling. Colin Power, 270 for his opener. And is there a better last name for a powerlifter than Power?
I'll tell you, Colin Power, that's the name for a powerlifter. But his brother and sister-in-law are expecting a baby in a couple of months, and they're going to call the baby Max Power.
Stop it.
No, I'm not kidding. That comes from his partner.
Michelle,
his partner, ran into the media crew this morning, and God bless her, she walked all the way to the stadium with us, and she'll probably regret that for the rest of her life.
Well, listen, 25 years from now, you better watch yourself for Max Power.
Because Max Power is going to be out here as well. Colin Power with 270. The two best names in powerlifting, Ron Strong and Colin Power.
Ron Strong, Canadian. It's strong.
And he's bought the power today.
Let's see what they say about the depth, though. Yeah,
just not deep enough there.
I'm going to have to agree. The depth was, we'll take a look at the replay here. It was on the line.
Yeah, he's just going to have to sink it a little bit further. Weight was not an issue.
Now, also, so 275 for Costa of Brazil. I had the opportunity to meet Matthias backstage. Absolute monster of a man, but very super nice and friendly when not on the platform. But when he takes the platform, these Brazilians bring the fight, don't they, Gary?
Forget the friendly on the platform.
That's right. 275. well within his means. I hesitated, but got in a picture with this man, and it looked like a man with a child. It was very humbling.
275. 20-odd kilos under his personal best of 295.
Yeah, and I'm expecting his personal best to be old at this point. Look at that.
Making 275 look like an easy day at the office.
Yeah, for a gentleman like that. Up next, 275 will stay on the bar for Emil Gustafsson. And I believe Emil in Sweden is a popular name because if you remember, Emil Norlin,
Very much.
205 junior, who just lit it up by winning in dramatic fashion.
You might have caught Oscar Bjorn on the camera then. Great coach for the national team, project manager for Alico, and joined us in the commentary box yesterday afternoon as well.
Nicely done, wow.
Yeah, very smooth. Very, very good opening lift.
No big ask yet in terms of the squats. Obviously, Power needs to go a little deeper, but it was still smooth and easy. 275 for Michael Bruce of Ireland, 2 Irish lifters. And they've been well represented at these
Big
World
team,
Games.
big representation, and picking up a lot of medals as well.
Just for anyone listening, they released, because the women's division is now done, U.S. came first, Canada came second, and Britain came third. Michael Bruce, 275. He's hit 305, so we
Yeah, I'd imagine this would be a fairly solid opening lift for him. Weight was certainly no problem. Depth looks good from here.
And for a lot of these gentlemen, it's not a weight cut. Some of them it is, but for a lot of them, they comfortably make 120, so it's not a factor. With traveling while weight cutting can be a dicey proposition, so they're going to feel a lot better when they hit these openers. 287.5 for Karl Peter of Norway, Somerset. One gentleman who I think might be weight cutting a little, Tony Cliff. He looks like a 120 plus.
Getting that bar tight. Wants to dig that in as hard as he can. Got a best lift of 303. Yeah, it was a bit of work. He didn't look super comfortable under the bar when he walked that out. So I'm just wondering if he didn't quite get the setup he wanted.
And that's when the weights are this big. I know it's relative, it's an opener, but humans shifting this kind of weight is in and of itself a little unnatural. So when you're walking it out, you got to be patient, let the weight settle.
You haven't got that weight in the position that you regularly have it in. You know, even a millimeter to one side, something's not quite right. You
Not lined up on the shoulders.
You can feel that difference, and that can really throw your game.
Yeah, they're strong enough because it's an opener and they pick the weight appropriately for the opener. They're okay, but when you get to the max end, now 295 for Barich. Sikanovsky of Britain. Britain's got 2 lifters, both of them quality, and a hell of a 1-2 punch. That's a bit of work as well.
Yeah, putting a bit of work for an opener there.
Again, no, you know what? I had a couple lifters in the 93 class. They started lifting at 8, weighed in at 6, and for any of them cutting weight, woke up around 4. And they said, squats felt very heavy because if you're a little nervous and it takes a little bit to fall asleep, you're looking at 1 or 2 hours sleep.
Yeah, a little nervous, a little tired.
300. Paul Johannes, Hedrick of Germany. He's hit 310.5. Judging by the 0.5 at the end of that 310, he's a national record holder.
And the world record for 120 squat is very, very close to 400. I think it's 386 or something.
Probably Dennis Cornelius, who nicely done here. Dennis was running a bit of a dynasty there. I believe he won 3 years in a row. Took a year off. I think he's coming back next year to dismay of a lot of 120s. he was the lightest man to ever register 1,000 kilo even. He didn't do it at the international level. I think it was a local meet, but however. And incidentally, surprise, surprise, super nice guy, as most of these guys are. 300 kilo, Matthias from Poland.
This is a guy to keep your eye on throughout this competition.
He is.
He certainly, I mean, we look at the predicted totals and look at the overall rankings. This guy here, he's a bit of a dark horse. He can lift.
Oh, little, maybe opening a little stitch
looks
heavy.
like a little heavy. His best lift is 315. Hasn't given him a lot of room to move there.
15 kilo jump, that's, I mean, most of these big fellows will take around a 15 kilo jump. However, Poland's got 2 lifters, and both of them at the top of this class. Speaking of at the top of this class, Tony Cliff, #1 nomination, #1 seed, Britain's biggest hopes for a medal in the men's division.
Yeah, picked up the gold medal at the European Championships.
9 years competing, and he is a massive man. Look at
that opening squat looked absolutely brilliant.
Look at the difference in how 300 kilo is handled.
40 kilos away from his personal best. That's an opener.
When he walks by, he's higher than the scoreboard. It really is when you see it on the stream, when you see it on Instagram, you don't get a full respect.
Yeah, you stand next to these guys and you realize I walk out the back in the 120s and the 120 pluses, and I weigh in at a bit over 105, and I feel like the little guy in the room. I remember being in Minsk in 2017.
Yeah.
Right then I was a heavyweight. I weighed in about 135, and I was at the back in the 120 pluses, and even then I was like the little guy in the room.
Pavlenko from the Ukraine is going to open with 302.5. Yeah, I know that it's literally like the Titans have gathered here in Helsingborg, Sweden, and are going to do battle. And when you're this close to the action, it's a little awe-inspiring, I'm going to be honest.
So 302.5. You got a best of 325.
Ukrainian team doing very well. Anatoly picked up 93 kilo gold, which is probably the most competitive men's division.
Yeah, and boy, did he just move that so smoothly. Very, very smoothly.
Canada's golden boy, Henrik Willis. Look, if Canada racks up more men's gold medalists in the World Championships, that's fine. He was the first. He will always be the first. And that puts him in the heart of every Canadian powerlifting fan.
Well, he had to fight for it in Canada, and he's going to have to fight for it again here.
Absolutely. He'll probably have to find another gear here because Tony Cliff is likely the stiffest opposition he'll have faced. But he says he's good for it, and I believe him. It's going to be a battle. 310, he's hit 330.
And just a stitch high on that one.
Let's take a look at the replay here. That's going to set him back. Yeah, it's about on the line. It's going to set him back a stitch because usually, Gary, you retake that weight.
Well, yeah, you have a plan. You know, you're looking, so you might start at 310 and you go, okay, well, I'm going to have 310 to 325, 325 to 335. Now I'm going, well, I've got to do the 310 again. Where am I going to go on my third? I've lost maybe 10 kilos. Can I make a little bit of a back again? Plus, you've already done one lift. You move into your second. You've got to manage that jump now because you've actually taken a lift.
Yeah, usually you'd have a jump in between your first and third if you want to be so bold. It's a discussion that you have to have. And Sadowski from Poland, 320, and this young man right in the mix with Tony Cliff and Henrik Willis should not be overlooked.
Yeah, look, the key for this young man is to not get caught up in the hype by trying to push too hard early. We've seen that so many times this week.
Yes. A little untidy. We'll see what they say about depth
Yeah,
as
it's a
well,
bit on the
though.
messy side, but
It's going to be on the line. Yeah.
it doesn't have to be pretty to be on the board.
2-1 in his favor. When you tilt like that, one hip is going to be higher than the other. So it's, and that's okay. You only need 2. And in terms of Sadowski's situation coming in, Tony Cliff, Eric Willis, coming from nations a lot more social media, inclined. If they carry the pressure, you come in here with no pressure, fine, look at them, put the pressure on them, put the expectations on them. I'll piece together my 9 for 9 and build the base of which I could stand on.
Yeah, and look, that's the best process to take, building it up, adding it up. You're 9 from 9. You're in with a good shot, and you've done everything you can do.
265 for Rensilu of Sri Lanka.
Depth looks good.
3 white lights.
Moved well, still left himself some room to move. I think that's one of the most important things, is leaving yourself some room to move. I mean, we saw it yesterday in the 105s. The American was able to take the gold medal because he opened on a deadlift that gave him, 40, 45 kilos of room to move away from his personal best, whereas the Russian Open only gave himself maybe 20 kilos of room to move from his best. So he put himself in a good position. And
it taxes you, your nervous system. So if your top end deadlift is 340, let's say at the end, if you hit 320, well, that 340 might have dropped to 335 because it taxes you. Don't get too close to your max lift with your second and first because you only have so much resources. Colin Power, 270 moved very well. Just needs to go a stitch deeper and he'll be fine.
Yeah, just needs to sit it back. Depth looks good from there, and his lift looked 10 times better.
Yeah, he was solid.
It looked easier. He's got it on the board.
Probably just need to, wake up a little bit. All right, game on.
Look, those first lifts, I mean, it doesn't matter how long you've been doing this. You get nervous, and that first lift of the morning, it's a nerve-wracking lift.
Yeah.
And sometimes, the body's natural response is to pull up a little bit short because, you're nervous. It's early in the morning. It's cold. Your bodies haven't warmed up yet, so you automatically pull up a little bit short. He's probably squatted that a million times before this competition to great depth.
Michael Laettner of Austria, 277.5. You're 100% correct, and the nerves, you say even when you're a veteran, you have them. That's a good thing. If you don't have nerves, you don't have adrenaline, and you don't care enough about what's happening, the day you show up and you're indifferent about it, it's the day you got to question yourself.
Yeah, look, I always say to athletes, if you're not nervous, I'm worried about you.
Mm-hmm. 3 white lights. 290 for Matheus Costa of Brazil.
So getting awfully close to his personal best. You'll see how this moves.
Yeah, it'll be a good indicator. When you're 5 kilo below your personal best, if it moves really well, you're probably looking at a new personal best. If it's a little bit of work, maybe you're just looking at matching. Come on, baby!
And out of all the 120 lifters here today, you've got to admit he looks like a comic book superhero.
Well, Tony Cliff does too, but I'm going to have to admit, he has the proportions. If they're shooting a Marvel movie, he should get himself an agent and throw his hat in the ring because he'd be an excellent superhero.
That one was pretty heavy.
Yeah, it looked, you know what?
It looked like he did a bit of a false start, but
3 whites
on the board.
See on the replay, I think he might have lost a little tension at the bottom and then fell slightly to his left. I think he got a little loose. He can always adjust.
Shifted around a little bit.
Emil Gustafsson of Sweden, 290 as well. And this is going to match his personal best.
Well, we'll see how it rolls because he's 25 years of age, competing with the big boys here, and 5 years experience. So I'd imagine his last training blocks have been pretty good. And the way he's open and moved.
When you're 25, he's been in the open only 2 years. Gains are still pretty fast for him. A little different when you're 35, been in open 10 years. People see you coming and your gains tend to slow. Oh, wow.
Well, that moved as good as an opener.
Yeah.
If he'd opened with that, I would have said, well, that moved well for an opener.
Yeah, yeah. I wouldn't blink. And the Swedes have really put on a good show at these World Championships every time.
Yeah, look. I was talking to Oscar the other day, asking him how he's feeling, asking how the coach is going. He said it's been, it's been a roller coaster. They've had some ups and downs, we saw Eddie bomb out on his bench, and I talked to him about that. And Eddie's Eddie. He said, you know what, brushed it off, walked away. He's getting ready for the next one now. Not too worried about it all. And and that's powerlifting.
Yeah, that's sports in general, I guess. You got to have that kind of attitude. Karl Peter Somerset of Norway, 297.5 for him. And again, we're getting a little close to his top
just
end.
shy of his personal best at 303. His opener wasn't super clean.
And it's a decent jump, so we'll get an indication if he could tidy it up a little and it moves better, or if we're really flying close to the sun. Oh, that's not a good start.
Look, I said in his first lift, he just didn't look comfortable under the bar.
He looked over for support from his. Should I do it
look
again?
Look at his coach. What do you want me to do, coach?
The coach said, "Get back in there, son."
It's that's. You can't imagine what it's like to have your coach on the sideline there, and you do. Sometimes you look over. You need that vote of confidence.
He's showing a lot of heart here by getting back under this. Oh, whoa!
And he gets it to the top.
And that's why I love this sport.
And look at the smile on his face. He gets it on the board as well.
That's why I love this sport. He got rattled. That was a moment right there.
And
look to his coach.
Yep.
Get in there, son. Get back in there, son.
Looks for a bit of support.
Get back on that horse.
And that after that actually looked better than his opening lift.
Ooh, I got chills. We just had a little bit of a sporting moment there. And Michael Bruce from Ireland, 300 kilo even, 25 kilo jump, which isn't a big jump when it's this kind of weight. It's all relative to percentage. And these fellas are huge and moving big weight, so expect bigger jumps.
This is just under his personal best.
Depth looks good. Oh, wow, that's a quick cut.
Yeah, it moved quite well.
So controlling and deliberate in the hole. I expected it to be a fight on the way up. Was not.
Yeah, I mean, not using that bounce at all. He's obviously got a lot of power in those legs. Having a quick conversation with his coach about what to do next.
310, and there's Dittmar on the sidelines. He knows a thing or two about powerlifting, let me tell you.
Yeah, he's a bit of an encyclopedia.
I think when powerlifting started, it was Dittmar said, and let it begin. Paul Johannes Hedrick of Germany, 310. This is 0.5 kilo below his personal best. Moved pretty well. It was work, but I never was in doubt.
Yeah, never looked in doubt. Gets it all the way down there.
And that's what I expect a second attempt to look like. I expect it to be work, but I also expect to never be in doubt you're going to get it. Thirds, now you got to get a little risky.
So this man here is one to watch. His opening lift was slow, looked tough.
Yeah, I'm 310, 10 kilo jump. Mateusz from Poland. He's been lifting 11 years. 5 kilo below his personal best.
This is where we find out if his opening lift was just a bit of nerves.
And we talked about how when you're 25, been lifting a few years, gains are quick. He's 30, been lifting for 11, and he's 5 kilo below his personal best. Open 15 kilo below. Has he opened too heavy?
Well, it's a fight.
It's a fight, and a fight he wins, but
he gets it there. It's a lot of energy and probably nowhere really to go now. I even think 5 kilos on top of that is going to be a stretch.
It's one of those deals. You won the battle. Are you going to win the war?
Look, I mean, if I was in his position, I'd be looking at just throwing on 2.5. Looking at getting that third one on the board with just 2.5 kilos, he's probably not going to notice it too much. But it's not going to drain. If he puts another 5 on there, and he's got to fight it out, and he doesn't get it, he needs to save a little bit of energy for the end of this.
Eric Willis, 310 on the bar.
Needs to sink this one in.
It moved well. It's just a matter of depth. We've seen other lifters come and correct that. Eric, obviously a veteran of the game at all levels. Shouldn't be an issue. That's better.
That looks a lot better. And the speed on the way back up was a lot better as a result.
Yeah, he felt a little better about that. So he's on the board. Now the discussion will be, do you take your plan third, second, or in between somewhere, because he lost footing in a battle that he really can't lose footing
it's a tough
this early.
call. I mean, if you jump to your third, it's a very, very big jump. If you jump to if you go to your plan second, you're losing that. You know, so I like to look somewhere in between.
Yeah,
if it's not too big a jump,
yeah.
look in the middle somewhere. You know, at least maybe then you've only lost 5 kilos that you're planning to get rather than the 10 kilos that you're planning.
In a long day, rare that people go 9 for 9, and you can expect Tony's going to miss one as well somewhere along the line. Now, Sikanovsky of Great Britain, 312.5. This is well underneath his personal best of 3:35. Depth is good. I don't think he's going to have a personal best today because that was work, but
that was a lot of work. Gets it on the board, 2-1.
320 being loaded. Nope. Yeah, 320 being loaded. Pavlenko. Demetriou Pavlenko is going to jump 17.5 kilo, which isn't, it's probably around standard for the 120 class, and still 5 kilo below his personal best. If he moves this, like a typical second attempt.
Yeah, look, he's open to move quite well.
Yeah, I would anticipate, depending on how this moves, anywhere from 5 to 10 kilo jump from there. And that'll put him right in the hunt for a podium in squats for sure, and add some kilos to his total. Depth. Oh, whoa.
Really fast.
Holy. That was
super fast. That was an opening squat.
Wow. Any of the coaching staff back there that's seen that, got to be a stitch rattled. Yep. No slowing down yet. Okay, so another 10 kilo for him. And Tony Cliff, 20 kilo jump from his opener, which moved like it was a warm-up. 20 kilos below his personal best.
Yeah, look, he's given himself plenty of room to move. So you can look at his predicted total when he comes in and nominates, but he's given himself room to move, so you know his finishing total is going to be a lot more. And his second moved very well.
He's still not being pressed with effort yet. Depth is on the line. He does not want to go. I want to take a look at the replay here.
So he's going to have to be careful on his next one, being a bit heavier.
Yeah, he dips at the end. You just don't. You want to stay at least there. No higher than that. And 335 for Sadowski of Poland, who starting to build a base. You could see he could make a run for that world title.
Chipping away. His opener moved well. Looking to make his mark.
When it comes to the weights this heavy, you're going to see them take a little more time. It's untidy, but he does it. Now let's see what they say about that.
It wasn't super clean, but not deep enough, though.
Let's take a look at the replay. However, I think our replay is going to be the ref who gave it to him, so we won't really get a good indication. Yeah, it was kind of on the line, actually.
But, you know, he's been steadily improving. I mean, he picked up 4th place in the world in 2017 in Minsk, picked up a silver medal in Calgary.
He's shooting up the rankings.
He's gradually getting himself right up there, and people are going to be looking at him thinking, ooh, we're really going to need to watch our backs here.
So he's having a rematch with Henrik Willis. And Ransilu, it's going to take 275, the Sri Lankan. Depth looks good. All types of strong in that young man.
Yeah, that looks a good third lift there. Still got some room in his tank as well.
Chiathi Lake picks up 2 for 2.
And look, he hasn't used up all his energy yet. And it moved well.
Pacing himself. And Colin Power missed 270, jumping 10 kilo to 280. He's hit 285. This should be within his means. And 270 moved well. He just had to dip it a little lower for a second to get on the board.
So Colin Power, soon to be the uncle to Max Power.
And they're gonna.
Could Max Power be a future world champion?
And
from
could
Ireland?
they be a future Avengers movie?
We'll be receiving a copyright letter in the mail from Marvel soon.
Cease and desist. Depth is there this time. Looks good.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, depth looked good from here. That's what the side referees say.
Ooh.
Yeah, I thought that might happen, and
Why
I
is
thought
that?
the Irish would come to the jury panel here.
How'd you know that might happen? You
It's
saw the
just
same?
looked a little bit shy on one side there.
The thing, our replay there
He's not
is,
getting any sympathy from the jury, though.
our replay is the angle that
Yeah,
passed.
we get the
so
one side that gives them.
his hips are off balance, so it will be depth one side, not in the other. So it's going to be a dicey proposition. Now, Michael Laettner of Austria, 282.5. 5 kilo jump, which is relatively conservative.
Yeah, I mean, in this
120.
weight class, a 5 kilo jump is very conservative.
However, if you feel like the ending's coming, you got to be prudent. Depth is good there. Okay, so I think he might have had a little
Yeah,
more
look,
room.
but I mean, this is the thing. You've got to also, you've got to be realistic. You've got to say, okay, well, I can put 5 kilos on, and I've got an 80% chance, 75% chance.
Yeah.
That I can go 10, and all of a sudden I'm going to put in this massive fight. I might not get it.
50-50
Yeah.
and maybe for nothing.
And
yeah.
if you're trying to build a total, you want to take that 5 that you know you're going to get.
That's logic. Matheus Costa of Brazil. You said 2.5. I was thinking maybe 5. He put on 5. It is going to be the fight of his life, but these Brazilians are as scrappy as they come, and he is more intense than the second attempt, and sometimes that makes all the difference.
Well, you're looking at a real-life G.I. Joe, and if anyone can put in the fight, it's this man.
He's a one-man army. He's his own bodyguard. Depth.
And just a little bit too much. Great job from the spotters.
If the fight comes midpoint, a lot easier to scrap it
Yeah,
out. If the
that-
fight comes in
That
the
early,
hole,
very, very hard. You've lost momentum.
it doesn't matter how scrappy you are.
Yeah.
When the fight comes in the hole, that's difficult. You're not in position, really. Emil Gustafsson, 300 kilo even, a nice milestone for any lifter to hit.
Yeah, that 300 mark is a really nice milestone. And, of course, the Swedish crowd right on cue.
To hit the milestone while in Sweden, host nation, home crowd. Oh, wow.
That moved really,
Yeah.
really well.
That was a 10 kilo personal best. I wasn't
I
expecting
think he
that.
was a little shocked at how well that moved. He's like, I'll put 300 on. Yeah, it's going to be tough, but I think I
Yeah.
can do it. Yeah, put me in, coach. I think I've got this. Oh, well, actually, now that you mention it,
Maybe we're conservative. I was expecting a whole lot more of a fight, given how his 10 kilo
there wasn't
increase.
much of a fight there. He had that in the bag.
Karl Peter Somerset of Norway had quite the moment in his second attempt. Look at that second attempt, gave me chills. Anybody listening, if you got that video, please do forward it my way. It is going to be a 305 for his third. You just wonder, once he had it and hit it, not bad.
Yeah.
It looks really far down his back on one side and not the other.
Has he changed singles?
Oh, whoa! Has he changed singlets though?
I believe he
3
has.
whites. And so, why do you think that would be?
Yeah, maybe,
Was it too slippery?
Maybe
or?
he just wasn't getting the grip he needed. Maybe it just wasn't comfortable. I mean, he did look uncomfortable on the first two lifts.
I'm going to ask the production team if they know if you change singlets. Well, that's an interesting. I'll ask them on the warm-up. Michael Bruce of Ireland, 312.5, 12.5 kilo jump, and totally par for the course for the 120 big boys.
Yeah, look, it'll give him a nice personal best. Yeah, a personal best is usually a bit of a fight, but we've been proved wrong a couple of times today.
Yeah, you think a fight's coming, and the battle turns into a hunt. Looks good in the depth.
And it's a fight, all right, but he's got it. He gets it up to the top. The depth looks good from here. Not deep enough. And of course, we only had the front angle. Front referee gave a white light. Two side referees gave the red lights.
We do got the replay here. That's close.
Yeah, a bit hard to see in that angle.
3:15 for Paul, Johannes, Hedrick, and the jury.
Well, actually, the jury is making some movement here.
If I may, I thought it was deep enough as well, so we'll see if the jury agrees with me. $5-kilo jump, 4.5 kilo personal best, and one can presume a new German squat national record.
Well, it's a big ask.
He's a big lad. Nope.
And just got a little bit too much there. And the Irish lift has been overturned, I believe.
And if I'm honest, I would agree with that.
Well, our system of refereeing and jury works very, very well. The referees have got a split second to make a decision on depth.
Mateusz Gryszek of Poland, 3:15, 5-kilo jump, equaling his personal best.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough lift, this one.
I was about to say, he has been putting in work. And from 300 kilo to 315 is not a lot of room from your first to your third. Most individuals take 15-kilo jumps from first to second. He's been hovering around his max end for all three lifts.
Boy, but can he fight?
Oh!
After 310, I would have suggested 315 might be a bit of a stretch, but honestly, the fight looked the same in every single lift.
At the top end, he was still reverberating. Here's the thing. When all three of your squats are so close to your top end, hard to pace yourself by the time you get to deadlifts. It's a long day. Don't take three heavy ones. Don't take three heavy ones. Henrik Willis, 322.5, 330 is his top end. I think he did exactly as we suspected. Looked at his second, look at his planned third, said let's meet it in the middle. Don't lose too much ground, a little more of a high proposition to hit.
Yeah, somewhere in the middle ground there. That way he's only giving away 5 kilos instead of 10.
Yeah. And I think the Canadian coaching staff and Eric did the prudent pick. But he's got to hit it. Writing a number on the card, handing in is the first step. Now the hard work happens. Canada's golden boy, Henrik Willis.
And just a little too much today. It'll set him back a little bit, but he's got plenty of other tools up his sleeve. He's got plenty more weapons.
Probably his biggest tool would be his deadlift, and he's going to need it. Now 322.5 stays on the bar. Demetriou Pavlenko of Great Britain. This is a 10-kilo jump, and shy of his personal best, but judging by 312.5, I don't think his personal best in the tank today.
Yeah, no, 312.5 was a lot of work.
Yeah.
You know, this one's going to test him. It's going to stretch him a little bit. Yeah, it's within reach, but he's going to have to put in the fight for it. Got the fight.
Talk about fight.
He has put in the fight. What do the referees say? And he gets
2
it
to
on
1.
the board. It's worth the fight.
Look, some of these gentlemen are making me eat my crow. I would have never picked after some of their second
After
attempts.
some of the seconds, there's no way I would have gone there, but
Sometimes you kick it into another gear and you make it happen. 327.5 for Tony Cliff, the pride of Great Britain, looking to go 3 for 3.
well, this guy is already in another gear before the competition even started, and he is going to make it very, very difficult for anyone to peg him down. And that's basically his plan here.
Talk about another individual with a superheroes build. This guy is monstrous.
Yeah, the great thing in here is he's well away from his personal best. So he's not sapping energy. He's got plenty of energy left in the tank for the next session.
It moved like an opener, but they're not going to love his depth. Nope.
Gets
Good
it
enough.
on the board.
2 to 1.
You know, he's left plenty of room in the tank. And this,
Yeah, that was so fast.
He's following a great plan. You know, it's like, you know what? I'm going to open light. My predicted total has already put me as the #1 contender.
Yeah.
I've got bucket loads of room to move, and I'm just going to build away at that with what I need just keep ahead, and then I've got plenty of left in the tank at the end. So if someone brings the fight to me, he's going to be fresh.
Demetriou Pavlenko of Ukraine, 330. He currently in the squad event has the bronze. Would love to swap that for the gold. And if he hits this, he's going to do so. With one lifter left to go, Sadowski.
He set himself up a bit off center, and he stepped out there. But
Oh,
boy,
whoa.
he moved that easily.
And that's a 5 kilo personal best, and
And it moved very, very well.
3 white lights, and thus far, that golden squats is around his neck.
Yeah, that puts him in the goal position for squats with one lifter to come.
Petra Sadowski of Poland says, "Don't put that around your neck just yet, young man." I'd like to take a run at that. Now, he missed 335 in the second, but he hits this, and he jumps up the rankings from 4th to 1st
And
in the
look,
squad event.
I mean, if he misses this too, you've got both the Brits picking up silver and bronze in the squats.
Yeah, very
Not a
good
bad
start.
combination.
And the Poles, 4th and 5th, I mean, both teams are collecting a lot of points here. Very important 120 class for the Polish and the Brits in terms of their overall team points in the men's.
Oh, that was a messy one.
That was messy. Did he hit depth?
He gets it there. What do the referees say?
Not
Not
surprised.
deep enough. Somehow, I don't know how he managed to straighten that back up.
With that kind of weight on your back.
Do not know how he managed. The Polish coach is going to come to the jury on that one.
I don't blame him. Might as well. I don't
Yeah,
agree,
look,
but
It's worth a chat. This is the point to do it. I mean, this is the time you want to do it. It's a medal at stake. This is the time you want to come over and advocate for your lifter. But really, I mean, Tony Cliff looking absolutely on fire at the end of this. He hasn't expended a lot of energy. He's come in, he's opened well away from his personal best. He's added nicely to his predicted total, and he's going to roll into this bench press feeling really fresh, where a lot of the other guys are going to roll in this bench press having exerted a lot of energy in the squats.
yeah, I mean, it's powerlifting, it's sports. Things don't always go to script. Henrik Willis, returning world champion, leaving with one squat, certainly is a bit of a surprise. However, his biggest weapon is his deadlift, so he's not out of the hunt. But how about the Polish? Absolutely piecing together a great
look,
squad
coming
event.
out of nowhere, and he's come back. He's gradually over the last few years been moving up the rankings. This year he said, you know what? It's my time to have a bit of crack at the goal. He's going to have a tough fight. Tony Cliff's not going to go easily, but he's going to have to put the fight in his hands. Well, get back here in 19 minutes. The bench press usually gets pretty exciting with these big boys in the bench press. Anything can happen now. Anything can change. 19 minutes, we'll be right back here and watch the big boys unfold. Welcome back to Helsingborg, Sweden, and we are just about to get the bench press underway. Tony Cliff, absolutely outstanding in the squats and has really set himself up in a really good position going into the bench press. Willis from Canada didn't have the greatest day on squats, but managed to make up that ground. Didn't lose too much. What's your prognosis on the bench?
Well, look at Eric. Yeah, didn't go the way he wanted, but he got himself on the board and stayed in a hunt. However, Tony Cliff's subtotal is a monster. He's opening with 225. We're going to be well into the 500s. Because he's in the position that he is after squats going 3 for 3, he doesn't have to take too many chances. Eric Willis and the Canadians, on the other hand, as well as the Poles, if they want to catch up, might want to. Entering into the deadlifts, the momentum might shift into Eric Willis's favor. Historically speaking, he has a slightly bigger deadlift. So if Tony can stay in the pocket and not miss any lifts, it mitigates Eric Willis's and everyone else's chances of catching up. If Tony gets a little overzealous, starts missing a little, opportunity arises.
Yeah, look, and looking at the way Tony came into these squats, it looks like he's got a very, very solid plan. It doesn't look like he's getting caught up in the moment. You know, he finished his squats well below his personal best. He isn't expelling nearly as much energy as a lot of the other guys. If he can do the same in the bench, he's going to roll into those deadlifts feeling really fresh with a lot of momentum on his side, and he's going to be very, very hard to beat when he's feeling like that.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that Tony is as strong as he is, you almost need him to reach, make mistakes, and then have that opportunity to rise. But Tony, realizing this, is staying in the pocket.
Well, we are getting underway here, and we're about to see how things unfold on the bench.
Red Silu, 137.5. And he had a nice squat session.
Yeah, look,
as well.
he had a great day on squats, and looks like he's opening at a very conservative bench as well, 137.5, well below his personal best of 150. So playing it smart.
We often said the bench, because of it's the only lift with 3 different commands, all the different infractions you can have due to are your elbows locked.
Yeah,
then
look,
you get the start command.
This is
Pause.
the bench press is where a great plan can come undone.
Yes.
Or a great plan can come into action.
Yeah.
You know, it is hit or miss. I mean, you can come in after the squats with this really good squat session, great plan going your way, and everything just falls to pieces on the bench, or goes the other way, and your plan goes into motion, and that's when you set yourself up.
Look what happened to Brett Gibbs in the 83-kilo class. He really got set back. There's so many ways you could lose a bench press. Michael Bruce of Ireland, 142. Or 145, sorry. Moves it easy. And so you need your head, your butt, and shoulders touching the bench at all times. You need your feet flat at all times. You have a pause on the chest. You don't get the start command until your elbows are locked. You don't get the press command off the chest until the bar is motionless. You don't get the re-rack command until the elbows are locked once again. There's so many ways you could possibly lose a bench. So technical that it really can set you back if you start missing.
Yeah, I mean, that's why in the bench it's so important to open on a conservative lift.
Mateus Costa, 180 on the bar for him from Brazil.
Tony Cliff will be opening on 225. It's a big, big opener.
Monster opener. The way he game planned, as well as Team Britain, the squats, you got to think they're not taking big chances in the bench. At least not early. Be ashamed to put all that good work in on one event, lose it on the next.
And the current world record, 253.5, set in Oshmiany, Belarus in 2018, the European Classic Cup.
And who's the gentleman who's that?
Amandus Palauskas.
Ah, yes, Amandus. He was in
An absolute giant.
Minsk, Belarus as well. Colin Power, 182.5, representing Ireland.
And I've been told to give a shout out to his powerlifting mum, Karen, not his real mum, his powerlifting mum.
Okay.
Karen, who is back home, competed here earlier this week, and has to get up very, very early to watch this, apparently.
Nicely done. 3 white lights. Johannes Hedrick of Germany, 185 for him.
Yeah, awfully close to his personal best, so we'll see how this one moves. You know, he's got a great man in his corner, Dietmar Wolf, and I imagine he wouldn't be opening close to his personal best if it was a risk.
Nope. Johannes is in good hands. Dietmar, a veteran of the game.
Yeah, it certainly wasn't a risk.
No. Well placed. 3 white lights.
Very good lift.
Michael Laettner of Austria, 185 on the bar for him as well. The Austrian has hit 192.5.
Yeah, this should be well within reach.
Especially at 25, competing 2 years, so the gains are probably fast moving for him.
Very well-known Austrian coach in his corner. A little stagger in the middle there. Almost like he came off very fast of his chest and it caught him off guard how fast it moved.
Take a look at this replay. Very fast. Oh, did a butt? Yeah, butt almost came up too. It was close. He doesn't.
Very, very close.
He's gonna want to tighten that up.
Which is probably what slowed the bar. All of a sudden, the power shifting.
Demetriou Pavlenko of Ukraine, 190. He's hit 200. Nicely done.
Yeah, nice open up.
Sometimes you see the arm shaking a little bit, but it's just the way some people bench.
Yeah, look, it's just the way some people's nervous system fires as well.
The bar speed is really the bigger indicator. Baruch Sikanovsky of Great Britain, 190 for him as well. And he has also hit 200 kilo previously.
Yeah, so 10 kilos below that opener. You know, depending on how this moves, I mean, you don't know how long ago that 200 was set. It's obviously made a lot of ground, but 10 kilos isn't that far away from a personal best on bench.
A little stutterer as well.
Yeah, I mean, it moved well off his chest. A little bit tough through the midpoint there, though.
Some people have a bit of a stutter. It's just for some reason in their bench from opener to last.
Yeah, it could be the transition too from the chest to the triceps as well.
Right, they have that sticking point.
Yeah, some transition a little differently.
Emil Gustafsson of Sweden, local crowd, always very supportive of the Swedish lifters.
He's having a solid day.
295, previous personal best, 118.5, so we're well below that. I'm expecting no major struggles. I like the fact they're giving him room. Room to grow from second to third attempts, as well as not expending too much of the budget on something like an opener. Nicely done.
And I got to say, I'm a very, very big fan of the safety bars on the new Elico rack. There is so much more room between the safety rail and the weight plates now.
Yeah.
And it makes it much more comfortable to lift.
You cannot ding them now. You just can't. 207.5. Karl, Peter Somerset of Norway, 207.5. Personal best, 212.5.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this moves.
Karl showed a lot of guts in that squat event.
Let's hope he doesn't have to expel as much energy on the bench. And just set himself up a little too close to the rack there. Clipped the rack, but it didn't provide any assistance, so that's absolutely fine. So you can make contact with the rack, providing it doesn't make any assistance. So if it looks like you're actually leaning it against the rack,
Yeah.
that'll be a no lift.
Mateus.
You prefer not to touch the rack.
Absolutely, and that's why you want an opening weight that even if things don't go as quietly as you would have liked, it's not going to slow you down.
Some things go wrong. You set up a little bit differently.
Yep, bar path wasn't what you wanted. 210 on the bar for him. And wow, was that smooth and easy.
Very smooth lift.
Forklift operator, he might not even need a forklift.
Oh, he carries it around with him in case he needs it later.
He is the forklift. And 210 on the bar for Henrik Willis. He's hit 235. This is well below his personal best. However, after the squat event, I like what the Canadians are doing. I always say shift and adjust to the day. I don't care what you did in the past.
You've got to be able to adapt the plan to the day.
You got to be able to call audibles if you're going to stay in the game. And Canadian coaching staff doing a great job there. There you go. And it's a little bit of, he hasn't had an easy one in the books yet. He had 3 attempts at squat, all of them tough. Only got one.
He needed that one on the books. That one's going to make him feel a lot better. He's going to get some confidence going. And at the moment, that's what he needs.
You're constantly in some kind of momentum. Is it going to be positive or negative? A lot of that is up to the handling. Help your lifter get the positive momentum he needs. Petra Sadowski of Poland, 210. He's hit 220.
Yeah, so for him, this is an important session. This is going to keep him in touch. And that's a good opener.
Only one lifter left to go, and everybody has hit their openers so far in probably the event that has the scariest openers, at least for me.
So 225.
Tony Cliff, the pride of Britain. If he could stay in the pocket and avert disaster here, he's really building a case for that world title.
All he needs to do is his job.
This is a big opener. He's hit 235. 10 kilo below that. He's got a decade in the game behind him. I don't think he's going to make too many mistakes. Certainly hasn't when it comes to attempt selection in squats. Well, there you have it. If you're hoping he's opening high.
I'm sorry, I blinked. What happened?
If you're hoping he's going to make a mistake, keep hoping. You're wishing on a star.
He is looking good.
Yeah. When you have a day like that, he's going to be tough to beat. 145. Rensilu of Sri Lanka.
And so far, he's had a really good day as well.
7.5 kilo jump, 5 kilo below his personal best, pacing himself nicely.
And very narrow grip. Lots of tricep work.
3 bites. Michael Bruce of Ireland, 155, 10 kilo jump for him. Still quite a bit below his personal best, so I'm expecting this to move good. He likes big jumps on the bench.
$155 should be very manageable for him.
Oh,
very, very manageable. Very well done.
We actually haven't seen too many battles yet. 187.5 being loaded on the bar for Mateus Costa of Brazil.
Tony Cliff has put in a 235 for his second.
Sounds about right. 10 kilo when you're
Yeah, the way that opener moved.
For a big man, he's got some good mobility and a decent bench setup. It's tougher and tougher the bigger you get.
Yeah, it gets harder and harder, but boy, he's getting that chest up super high for a big man.
Yep. He's got a good bench setup. Pretty good technician in there.
Yeah, and you can see when he sunk that into his chest, came down very fast. And when you come down that fast, it's very hard to maintain the tightness. You can really see his whole body sinks. And then he's had to retighten and just couldn't get the drive.
Colin Power of Ireland, 187.5, 5 kilo jump.
So right on his personal best. But his opener went very well.
Yeah, slowed a little. 5 kilos going to do that in the bench.
Yeah, look, it slowed him down. That right arm was quite slow coming up. You know, I think there's another 5 kilos there, but it's going to be a little bit of a battle.
190 for Paul Johannes Hedrick of Germany. 5 kilo jump for him as well. This will match his personal best.
Well, his opener moved well. And we said his opener was just 5 kilos below his personal best. That's always tough, but it moved very, very well. And I'm expecting this one to move quite well. And it does. Coach is happy with that one.
Yeah, there's probably a good 5 kilo more there. Michael Laettner of Austria. 190 kilo, 5 kilo jump for him. 5 kilos seems to be the standard for jumping in this class.
Yeah.
Unless you're top end like Tony Cliff, who's
Look,
shifting a lot of weight.
You know what, it's interesting this session. I mean, the guys in the squats have all been quite managed. No one's really tried to go ridiculously over the top. And when that starts to happen, the hype starts to build, it gets infectious out the warm-up room, they start pushing, and then we see lots of missed lifts. They've controlled themselves really, really well, so we're seeing lots of green.
Oh.
And he's having to fight for it, but just can't quite get it there.
I dare say you jinxed them. And having said about staying tight and staying to the game plan, eventually, some of these gentlemen are going to have to start taking risks. Because when you look at 860, 857.5, 865, in terms of the projected, if you want to walk home with a medal, eventually you're going to have to make a move.
Yeah, eventually you're going to have to put the pressure on.
Yeah, yeah. You want to stay in the pocket too long, you'll find yourself just off the podium, not taking any risks to grab a medal, let alone swapping your medal for someone else's. Bronze for silver, silver for gold. 197.5. Sikonovsky of Great Britain. Oh, stutter, but he gets it. And I believe was he the gentleman who had the stutter in his opener as well?
Yeah, he did, yes.
Might have been that
just seems to be the way he transitions into the triceps. Obviously, as he builds his profile over coming years, it's one area you can work on as well. As those weights get heavier, that's going to get a lot more difficult.
Demetriou Pavlenko of Ukraine, 200 kilo even for him. Speaking of Anatoly, who won the big battle of the 93s yesterday, immediately after he won the gold medal and it's the world champion 93s. He's back there on the platform, loading and unloading for the other Ukrainian lifters. All hands on deck. Humble young guy, all smiles. Love to see it. 10-kilo jump for Pavlenko. Nicely done.
Yeah, handled that very well. He has great mobility for a big guy. You can get that chest up so high.
These are athletic young men.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible. I mean, it was a time when we didn't really train for that back arch and that mobility. Now we're changing our training techniques, our methodologies, and we're actually doing things in the gym to try and improve that position.
Emil Gustafsson from Sweden, 202.5. Met by cheers with the local crowd just hitting the platform.
Moved well.
Nice lift. Very nice. 215. Karl Peter Somerset of Norway. 7.5 kilo jump from his opener. 2.5 kilo over his personal best.
His opener moved very, very well. Has he changed belts this time?
He
is he doing like a mix and match out there that we don't know about? It's like one of these magic shows.
Next, I think he's going to come out without the Team Norway shirt. There we go. Yeah, you don't want to be the lifter behind him in equipment check. It'll take a good 20 minutes. He's very well accessorized.
Did he bring a suitcase full, did he?
Yeah. And 217.5 from Mateusz from Poland.
Gonna have to go back over the videos after this and see how many equipment changes he had.
Mateusz, 30 years old, 11 years in the game.
Poland's starting to put on the pressure.
Oh, did he jump that
both
command?
their lifters at the moment.
I think he might have jumped that press command.
A little bit too quick. Yeah. It's the two red lights.
Petra Sadowski of Poland, 220, 10-kilo jump. When you get over the 200-kilo mark, 10 kilo becomes the standard. When it comes to your bench jumps. However, 220 kilo is also his personal best, so while the jump is standard, the weight is going to be near the top end.
Pushing the envelope a little bit.
See how bench training's gone for him.
Yeah, but this is the point now, or he's got one on the board. This is probably the point now where he needs to probably push the envelope just a little bit. You don't push too much in bench. And that was just the right amount.
Time that press command. Right on the money. Eric Willis, 225, 15-kilo jump. So looking to cover a little bit of ground here.
Yeah, I mean, for him, he's a good bencher. He's still well away from his personal best. This is a place where maybe he can just make a couple of extra kilos back. I mean, obviously, you're not going to chase him down in the bench press. But being a good bencher, this is an opportunity to maybe get a couple more kilos that he missed out on earlier in the squats.
Just wants to hang tight to Tony, but also he has to keep an eye behind him because, and I say behind him, I mean, they are all neck and neck on this podium.
Man, that was a good second lift there.
Look, if squats were shaky, bench is not. His personal best is 235, 10-kilo weight. I dare say he's got another 10 kilo in him. And speaking of 235, Tony Cliff, 235 for his second attempt, 10-kilo jump. And 225 was no major ask. Press that out as casually as you can imagine.
Yeah, well, the 235 moves anything like his 225. We're in for a treat.
There's Joe Whiteley in the crowd. He's got a distinct voice.
Yeah, you can't miss Joe Whiteley's voice in the crowd. You'll recognise that from the commentary stream as well.
Yep, announcing, commentating. Whoa.
And that moved well.
10 kilo didn't slow him down. Now that equals his personal best.
Yeah, I mean, this is a big decision for him now. Does he push a little bit further? Maybe put 7.5 on. You know, or are we going to play it safe with 5? He's probably got 10 in him. Probably.
Here's what I think. 10's 50-50. 7.5 is around 65. And 5, I would say, is around 90.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be playing it safe because I want to make sure I go into the deadlifts really fresh.
If he was behind, you got to start taking some risks to catch up.
Right.
That's
at the
not
moment,
the case.
he's in a good position.
Yeah. So he doesn't have to gamble as much. He hasn't fallen behind. Rensilu of Sri Lanka, 147.5. 2.5 kilo jump, 2.5 kilo below his personal best. Just trying to pick up some kilos.
He's working for it. He gets it to the top. It looks good.
3 white lights.
And it is. He's happy with that.
Michael Bruce of Ireland, 5 kilo jump. Will land him at 160. Still 7.5 kilo below his personal best. We are in the third attempts. I haven't seen a lot of failures yet, but this is where you start to see. They're going to push themselves, trying to collect every last kilo. Nicely done.
Yeah, handled that very well. He's pretty happy with that too.
Mateus Costa, 187.5, getting loaded on the bar. 195 is his personal best.
Yeah, he missed this on his second though.
Yeah, and you know, and maybe he gets a little tighter, something, because he lost a little bit of tension. That's a hell of a profile pick.
Yeah, he brought that. He brought the bar down to his chest really quick.
Mm-hmm. He has a good setup, but you don't want to lose that tightness in transition at all. He's strong enough for this. And I think with a little bit of adjusting, he could have it.
Yeah, just needs a bit more control on the way down to the chest. He brought it down so fast that he lost a lot of tightness at the bottom. You could see his whole body spread out when it got to his chest. You need to, as it touches your chest, you need to make sure that chest is still up. Oh, I think he jumped anyway. And he did the same thing again there. He had really good control, and he drops in, and I can see what he's trying to achieve. He's trying to get a quick press command and get that stretch shortening cycle. But as he's bringing it down to his chest, you can just see his whole body flatten out.
Michael Laettner of Austria, 190 in the bar for him. Missed 190 previously. Taking another run at it. It's 2.5 kilo below his personal best. The strength is there. Small adjustments, and he might have it.
So 190, just a couple of kilos of what he's shown he can do. But played the smart card, left it the same after missing it.
Oh, hit a bit of a roadblock there.
Yeah, gets good speed off his chest. And we'll have a look at the replay. Just look like his elbows are shifting too early.
I think a little bit of lockout work is going to be on the menu for his training as butt came up too.
Yeah.
Wasn't going to pass.
You know, look, and when your butt comes up like that too, if you're in the transition area, when your butt comes up, all of a sudden the bar just stops. Power's moving in the wrong direction. You're pushing up instead of back.
Colin Power, speaking of, from Ireland. 2.5 kilo jump for him, 190 on the bar. This will be a personal best.
He fights for it. He gets it there.
Nicely done. 3 white lights. Paul Johannes, Hedrick of Germany, 195, 5-kilo jump, 5-kilo personal best. 190 move well, though.
Yeah, I mean, 190 was a little bit of work, but it moved very, very well. I think the 5 kilo, probably a good decision.
Yeah, when you're hovering around the 200-kilo mark, 5 kilo is a conservative jump.
You know, it's a nice 5 kilo personal best for him as well. And he just can't quite transition there.
Those
he put in a
elbows
good fight.
just could not lock for him. Sekhanovsky of Britain looking to hit that 200-kilo bench. He's hit 200 kilo before.
Yeah, wants to put it on the board at the World Championships. It's only 2.5 kilos up from his second. So weight-wise in his hands, probably not going to feel too much different.
He's working.
He's putting in the fight, but it's just a little too much. Might not feel too different in his hands, but that 2.5 kilos can make or break you on a bench press.
Yeah, when you unrack it, you won't feel it, but eventually you keep adding 2.5 kilo, 2.5 kilo.
It's going to catch up.
It's going to catch up. And Demetriou Pavlenko of the Ukraine, 207.5. He's hit 200 even before. Hit it again today in the second, looking to make a 7.5 kilo
look,
jump.
And his second looked really good too.
Yeah, he's got room in the tank. And he's definitely a lot more fired up for this one.
Yeah, he's brought a little bit of intensity to the platform now.
Intensity makes a difference, believe me. Look at the mobility on that giant of a man. Oh, I think he's got it.
Gets it on the board. Nicely done. And if we wait, the Swedish crowd's on cue. It is.
Emil Gustafsson of Sweden, 207.5 on the bar, 5-kilo jump. This should be well within his means, judging by his personal best.
Yeah, look, it's well under his personal best.
But building a total is always the #1 priority.
Yeah, look, it's great to get personal bests on the board. You know, but it's really hard to win medals without putting lots of your lifts up. I mean, if you're only hitting your openers.
I think that was perfectly placed.
I think that was well played.
Yeah, 1 more kilo and it would have been too much. And that's really the name of the game there. Act on what you have that day, not what you had previously. And here is 217.5. Matthias had missed this weight in the second attempt.
And you know, and that's setting him back a little bit too. I mean, that was an important lift. I mean, he's sitting in a position where he wants to be challenging for medals. You know, you drop a lift in your bench, and all of a sudden, there's 5 kilos or maybe 7.5 kilos that he was planning on getting.
Yeah, Matthias, Eric Willis, and Sadowski, also a Poland, his teammate, very, very close in terms of the projected. Oh, just not lock out again.
Yeah, just can't quite get it there. Seems to have good power off the chest.
Lots of speed and momentum. Comes to a grinding halt at the same position every time. 222.5. Karl Peter Somerset of Norway.
right, he's got all the same equipment on this time. Doesn't look like he's changed anything.
Well, I'm sure he'll have something different for the deadlifts. Be somewhat disappointing at this point if he didn't. 7.5 kilo jump. And previously his best coming into this competition was 212.5. We're well beyond that.
Oh, and it's just a little bit too much there.
We had a sea of green earlier.
Yeah.
It's turning into a sea of red.
Yeah, a few of the guys just starting to push a little bit now. You know, looking at the scoreboard thinking, right, well, if I don't do it now.
Yeah, well, like we said, it's very tight on the top, a bottleneck leading onto the platform. Whoever's going to take that leap onto the platform is going to have to take risks.
Yeah, and
some
remember,
will hit, some will fall back.
That's right, and for teams, it's not just about gold, silver, and bronze. For teams, it's about moving up those placings, getting more points for your team.
Yep.
So they're looking at the numbers and going, all right, how much can I move up? I'll put on an extra couple of kilos here, might get an extra couple of placings.
Petra Sadowski from Poland, 225, 5 kilo for him. Speaking of placings, this is a bronze medal in bench, and he is a podium favorite.
Oh, he's going to fight all the way.
I'm wondering if the butt came up. I can see the hips moving.
Bit of hip movement, let's wait and see.
Great fight nonetheless.
He gets it on the board.
3 whites, nicely done.
It's taken some energy out of him, though. You can see when he stood up there, it took a lot of work.
He looked back like, whew, I'm due for a nap. And Henrik Willis, the Canadian team, opting for 7.5. We had discussed in terms of, look, he hit 235 previously, but in terms of percentages, this is a higher percentage move to still collect 7.5 kilo.
Look, and for him at this point, after the squats, he needs to get that 7.5.
It's also a medal around his neck, which will feel good. And confidence in the lifter is important, especially leading into his best event, which is the deadlifts. Get some positive momentum. He's already collected 1 medal here, and he can also collect another 7.5 kilo, put him back in the hunt. Long pause.
He's going to have to work for it, and he gets it there.
Done. 7.5 kilo it is. And you know what? 2.5 more kilo probably would have been a stitch too much.
Yeah,
Nicely
I think
played.
2.5 would have been a stretch.
242.5 for Tony Cliff. This is a 35 kilo jump from a second.
That's a big personal best too.
This is a 7.5 kilo jump from a second. 7.5 kilo personal best. And he is building a monster total, by the way.
His second moved well. I think 7.5 is the right call.
Based off the second, I would say so.
I think it's still a high at risk.
Yep. He hasn't missed yet. I'm starting to think he can't miss.
He's not going to yet.
Look, Tony Cliff came into this competition as the #1 seed, the #1 nomination.
You know what? And the great thing I'm liking about Tony Cliff at the moment is that he's not opening heavy. He's giving himself room to move. You know, so you look at his predicted total and think, yeah, he's #1 contender. But in each of the lists, he's giving himself lots and lots of room to grow, which means, you know, we're going to get to the end and he's going to be 70, 80 kilos or even more ahead of his beginning predicted total. That's the key, giving yourself room to grow, room to move. This is the first personal best he's hit.
Yeah.
He held right back in the squats, has lots of energy to roll on.
I think Team Britain has handled Tony Cliff masterfully. Oftentimes, you have someone coming in as the #1 nomination, and he's got all the numbers previously in mind, coming forward with personal best, like you had said, and they say, we're going to stick to the game plan. If we build a 6 for 6, because you're the #1 nomination, for someone to supersede you and take your spot, they need you to make mistakes, stay in the pocket, minimize the chances of mistakes. You're going to be very hard to beat and catch up to in the deadlifts, working right to plan.
Well, he's not made any mistakes so far. He's looking
so
very,
far.
very good. He's going to be very, very hard to catch. You know what? They're certainly going to bring the fight to him, but it's going to be very tough. Get back here, 18 minutes, 55 seconds, and we will get this party started on the deadlift platform. Well, welcome back, Helsingborg, Sweden, 2019 IPF World Classic Powerlifting Championships, and we have been in for a treat here. Tony Cliff is putting on a powerlifting clinic for us at the moment and showing us all how it's done, and he has followed the rule book to a T, put in that plan. He's 6 from 6 at the moment. He's going to be hard to beat.
Look, this is a strength sport. I get it. The lifters bring the strength, and Tony Cliff definitely brought that. But it's also a game of strategy. And the Team Britain strategy, masterpiece. Stay in the pocket, collect a 6 for 6 day, moving into the deadlifts now. If any of the opposition wants to knock him out of the #1 place, they have to match his dead and then exceed it by 20, 25, 30 kilo. In that situation, not really likely.
Yeah, look,
however, we got other battles.
It has. It's been a powerlifting 101 lesson with Tony Cliff, which is fantastic. And, you know, we talk about it all the time, that you've got to get the lifts on the board, you've got to get that total, and he is doing exactly that, and the proof is in the pudding, because he has created a gap now that, honestly, if he puts on his opening deadlift, you are going to need some sort of a miracle pull to get past that.
And we've seen those.
Yeah, we certainly have.
But they did their job.
It's not over yet, but he's certainly done his job. And, yeah, of course, we've got plenty of other opportunities. I mean, third, the bronze and the silver medal, this is going to be a real battle. We've got, you know, 2 athletes from Poland that are putting some pressure on. Willis wants to hang on to that silver.
He does not want to get knocked out of the podium.
Yeah, he's going to hang on to that silver. But we've got 2 guys coming up from behind saying, you know what, we want to have a shot at this as well.
Yeah,
So,
when you're defending world champion, to leave here and go back home without a medal, not in the cards. Expect him to fight, and it will be a fight.
well, he's going to need eyes in the back of his head, but right now, Colin Power from Ireland. The future uncle of Max Power.
.265 for Colin Power. And it moves rather easily.
Great opener.
I am not expecting anybody to get too dicey with their openers, least of whom Tony Cliff.
Yeah, and of course, none of this possible without our great sponsors, Alico, Uplift, SPD, the best in the business, all of them.
275 for Sikanovsky of Great Britain.
Got that belt up a bit high. You'll see that sometimes some of the guys deadlift. They'll lift that belt up to allow them to get down and get that air in.
Moves well.
And 3 whites. That's a nice looking lift.
Michael Bruce, 290. He's hit 312 and a half. This should be manageable for him.
Yeah, it looks like he's been having quite an enjoyable day as well.
Pacing himself for a personal best total.
Yeah, he could actually crack that personal best total today. He's certainly in the right position to do so. And with that opening lift, I would have to say it's in the bag.
Gustafsson of Sweden, opening with 300 kilo.
No introduction required because the Swedish crowd is right on cue.
Beltless, 300 kilo. Nicely done.
And this young man is super strong.
.305 being loaded. Michael Laettner of Austria. He's hit 335. This is well below that, giving himself a lot of room, a lot of space.
You can see he's starting to bring the intensity up. And you probably couldn't see it on the camera. Hofstetter there, just keeping him out the back, waiting a little second for bar loaded, and then give him the signal to go, getting that intensity up a little bit now.
Oh, nicely done.
Great opener. And this is it. I mean, if you've been holding back on the intensity, now's the time to start bringing it. You've got 3 lifts left. Don't have to save energy for anything else now. Now's the time to bring the fire.
305 stays in the bar. Rensilu of Sri Lanka. He's pulled 325. This should be in the tank for him today.
Yeah, he's had a pretty good day today as well.
I don't think he's missed a lift, unless I'm
As
mistaken.
far as I recall, he's 6 from 6. Not sure if he got his last bench.
Oh, no,
he's going to get
away.
himself in trouble there. Didn't control the bar to the bottom, just lost his grip.
Oh, okay, yeah. I thought he's looking at his hands.
Yeah. You could see he went to put it down in the replay, and just as he went to put it down, his grip gave way a little bit.
Hopefully didn't take out a callus. And 312.5 for Pavlenko of Ukraine. Pavlenko hits this, which is 10 kilo below his previous personal best total, so obviously having a really good day piecing together, and may end it with a medal.
And that moved well.
You see if we have a replay at the top end when he locks us out. Pay attention to his arms if they unstraighten and come in for a second. You gotta be careful because if there's any kind of a pull with the bicep, it gets a little dicey. Karl Peter Somerset of Norway, 320 on the bar for him.
And we've had a change of wardrobe again.
And he has pulled 352.5, which is a monster deadlift.
So he's gone back to his Norwegian suit for this one.
Of course. Interested to see how this moves. If it moves good, and it does.
Yeah, that moved well.
We can see a monster deadlift from him.
He's happy with that. He's got a big smile on his face after that one.
Look, he is also a contender to end up on the podium, and when you have a guy who could deadlift as much as him, he'll be a tough guy to keep off the podium and away from your medals. Petra Sadowski, 320 as well.
Another potential contender to push for those medals.
He's pulled 340. There's nothing but monster deadlifters, it feels like. Also,
yeah,
a
there's
podium
some big
finish.
numbers, isn't there?
Yep. There's going to be, it's going to come down right down to the wire in a scrap for medals. And this young man is going to be right in the mix.
Gets it to the top. Now, from this angle, the knees didn't look great, but the referee's got a side view much better than we have. And now
Tony Cliff, 320. So Cliff is a fair deadlifter, no question.
yeah, recently held the British national record. Recently. Only to have that taken away.
Oh, wow.
Wow. And the sort of guy he was right there in the thick of it a week or so ago when they took his British national record away, and was the one spotting and loading for the guy who took it, and was right there giving him a big congratulations and cheering him on as well. But I reckon he's chasing it back today as well.
You know, Tony's top end, the way 320 moved.
And here comes G.I. Joe.
Mateus Costa, 322.5. He's pulled 345. Nicely done. 3 red lights.
Yeah, let's have a look at the replay. It's a good lift. But what you were talking about with that pull on the bicep,
Ah, there it is.
You can see he's got
yeah.
a bit of a bicep pull. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that technically for the lift, but it puts the bicep tendon under so much pressure.
It's in danger. You always want to keep a straight arm the whole way through because the bicep tendon far too small to handle any kind of weight in this range. Mateus from Poland.
The double overhanded hook grip protects that a little bit on the bicep tendon, as opposed to the alternative grip.
325. I think Costa had the double overhand though. So
yeah, but if you're going to try and curl 300 kilos.
Yeah, good luck. Or reverse curl it if it's double overhand. And nice pull. 325 by Mateus. 3 by lights. So far, only one missed opener, and it was on grip, and hopefully nothing tore in his hand where grip is now going to be an issue. Henrik Willis coming up next. 330. Henrik is trying to hold serve here. Tony's too big of a deadlifter in order to go toe for toe and out-pull him by the margin you would have to take the lead. Henrik's got to start looking behind him and make sure he doesn't get knocked off this podium. That's a bit of work.
Yeah, he's expended quite a bit of energy today.
330. He's pulled 355. Based off that, I'm not sure if 355 is in the tank today, but he's going to have to find another gear.
He is. He's going to have to go to the back. He's going to have to rehydrate a little bit, get some electrolytes going, and just see if he can find a way to get another gear to protect that podium finish.
Paul Johannes of Hedrick of Germany, 340. Look at all the other national team coaches. Watch the videos out back. You see them, and they're analyzing how much they think you have in the tank. You got to be convincing with these openers.
They're all watching.
Scare them. Make them think, we're not pulling for your medal, we'll pull for the bronze instead. Oh.
Just a little bit lightheaded there.
Yeah, and that's to do with, he's all right. It's just when you hold your breath with that kind of internal pressure, that happens.
Yeah, all of a sudden, you get a bit of blood rush, leaves the head very, very quickly.
Leaves under his own power, and he's fine. And speaking of power, Colin Power, 290 on the bar for him. And that is a 25-kilo jump. So with his opener, they were taking no risks. But his opener moved well.
Yeah, you know what? And I love on deadlifts, it's such an important one. You know, it's that one lift, all of a sudden your total's solidified. You want that opener on the ball. You don't want it to be a risk.
You know what, I'm an 83-kilo lifter, and I'm around a 20-kilo jump at times, so this should be no big ask for Colin Power. He has hit 302.5, so 290, well within his means. You can expect bigger jumps the bigger the lifters get. Nice, solid pull. Very well done. Sadowski of Great Britain. 300-kilo even, again, 25-kilo jump, again. Par for the course for the 120s.
Yeah, he had a good opener. Getting focused for this one.
Nicely done.
Yeah, that was good.
305, once again, Rensilu of Sri Lanka. Hit it with no problems, but at the top, trying to hold it, came out of his hands as he's on his way down and looked to his hand immediately. If it's an injury and the palm is roughed up, hopefully he can grip through the pain.
Yeah, it's certainly not going to be easy. He had no problems with the weight.
If it's a pain issue, I have no doubt this man is tough enough to bear through it. Weight's good. Oh, they tested that grip.
Down. They certainly did, didn't they?
Let's see it,
young man. And he's got 2 red lights.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, you can see he just started shifting down before he got the down command.
Right before the command.
Man,
Michael
going to come
Bruce
to the.
of Ireland.
Doesn't get any sympathy from the jury.
20-kilo jump for Michael Bruce of Ireland. He's hit 312.5. This is awfully close to that. This is going to take a big effort for
He's
Michael.
got plenty of supporters in the crowd.
Or is it just 2 or 3 in the Irish?
It could just be 2 or 3.
The Irish sound like plenty. They'll fill a room.
He put some work in for it, but he got it there.
3 white lights, and it's good. He's got some room to grow there. Emil Gustafsson of Sweden. 312.5. This is going to equal his personal best. Chiropractor by trade. He's going to be really popular up back after these sessions are done.
He'll finish his session and go straight to work.
Accepting clients. Line up. Wow, for equaling your personal best, that was very smooth.
Yeah, it moved well. He got a little bit of lateral movement there, but it certainly didn't slow him down or cause any problems.
Michael Laettner from Austria, 322.5 for him. Still quite a bit below 335, so I'm expecting this to move pretty well. And at 25, competing 2 years, 335 might be old.
Yeah, he's got plenty of room to grow.
Shouldn't be a major ask. If this moves fast, he can load up in his third and really shoot up those rankings.
And that moved very well.
For a second attempt, for sure.
He's happy with that.
Yep. Anybody 3 or 4 placings above him better watch themselves.
And you can see when he finishes this lift, that was his happy face.
Pavlenko from the Ukraine will now take 327.5. Currently resting in 4th. This will temporarily move him into 3rd. We still got another round of deads to go, but he is hovering around the podium. Unfortunately for him, there are several gentlemen hovering around the podium.
Everyone wants a piece of the action, don't they?
And it's all within their means, so who hits, who misses. It's going to be big. Yeah, again, there's a little bit of a tug on the bicep. Still, he gets it. 3 white lights.
Yeah, it's on the board. Very nicely done.
You see in the replay, you'll see the tug on the biceps. Yeah,
Just a little bit, about halfway out there.
A little bend on the elbows. Doesn't take much when your biceps so small. Mateus from Poland, 337.5.
I don't think anyone has ever told him his biceps are small.
No, sir. No, sir. Not in Ukrainian anyways. And looking to add 12.5 kilo and match his previous personal best. That's work.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of room left from there.
No, and the thing with deadlifts, when your second moves like that, it takes quite a bit out of you for your third.
Yeah, look, you know, we've all been training too. You know, you hit a big deadlift, feels really, really good. You throw on 5 kilos, and it's stapled to the floor.
You don't want to touch the weight that slows you till your third, because once you start slowing a dead, it taxes the nervous system. Paul Johannes.
He's got a huge support crowd. And everyone wants to see him put this on.
If you're wondering why, 340, nobody wants to see anyone bomb. Strong all day.
Put in so much work all day. Everyone wants to see him get this.
Strength is there. Give him the down command.
Wow, that grip on the right hand there.
He's a little dizzy again, but he gets it.
Have a look on the replay. The grip on his right hand, no thumb.
Oh, wow, there's
just
no
hanging
thumb
in his
there.
hand at 340 kilograms.
And he was dizzy on the top.
Be careful if you shake his hand. He'll probably take yours off.
That is a heck of a lot of grip strength. He'd be hell. You don't want to challenge him to a thumb wrestle. And Petra Sadowski of Poland, 20-kilo jump. Again, hovering around that podium. There's not enough room for everybody.
Well, there's only a couple of places left.
Yeah,
So
you
a
say a
special
couple.
invitation only.
You say a couple. Tony Cliff is all but secure on there, but these other gentlemen are in the midst of a battle. And he's good for the battle. Sadowski picks up 20 more kilo.
Very nicely done.
Now Sadowski and Eric Willis neck and neck, 885 each. Pavlenko, 880. It is too tight. One of those gentlemen is not going to make the podium, but the one gentleman who definitely is, Tony Cliff. He hits this. His total is 910.
910 on his second. He's still got one to go.
Tony Cliff has not missed yet. I don't anticipate he's going to miss now.
Well, he's not planning on it, that's for sure.
And the Brits are getting everything they can out of Tony.
Wow, 910, and he's still got to lift up his sleeve.
Look, that pretty much dashes the hopes of any kind of upset. You needed Tony to miss this and someone else to pull off a miracle. Not going to happen today. You got to start looking at silver and bronze, and when you're looking at that, there's just too many gentlemen within striking distance. Among them, Somerset. Add him to the mix once he hits this. 342.5.
And Tony's put in a lovely little placeholder there.
Well, one would assume 400 kilos a placeholder, but I almost can't even doubt Tony at this point for anything. Feel like this is the day he could hit almost anything he wants.
He put in the work.
Nice pull.
And that should be the white lights. It is.
10 kilo away from his personal best. 10 kilo more is going to be a big ask, but if he's got to pull for whether it's dead medal, podium medal, whatever, it might be there. He certainly is in the running for a dead medal.
If the situation's right.
Mateus Costa from Brazil. 322.5. Was a little bit of work. This is a 20 kilo jump. It's just 2.5 kilo below his personal best. This is going to be a tight one. It's going to be a battle I'm anticipating. I was expecting maybe a smaller jump based off his opener. Oh, but what do I know?
He handled that very, very well.
Listen, I tell you what, some lifters rise to the occasion when the bar weight rises. This young man's one of them. Speaking of someone who needs to rise to the occasion right now, he has all types of challengers clustering around him to take a medal.
Yeah, look, everyone is trying to peg him down, and his opening lift didn't look great, but he's pulling a lot more intensity to the platform on this one. You can see he's a lot more focused now.
12.5 kilo jump, 342.5.
They've gone at the back and said, right, you need to shift into another gear now.
He's still 12.5 kilo below his personal best. It should be in the tank.
It is, but boy, that was tough.
It was tough. He is fighting to maintain.
Yeah, he is
Fighting
absolutely
to maintain.
tanked, and he is still fighting.
He's throwing up his hands. He's not uber confident.
Yeah, coach is asking, what do you want to put on the bar? You know what?
Whatever. Get me a medal.
I don't know. You tell me.
Load up what I need for a medal. I'll fight for it. And we will load 305 for Colin Power, and we're beginning our third round deadlifts, and this is going to be the conclusion. It is a 15 kilo jump, 2.5 kilo personal best, 290 moved. Pretty good for Colin. Based off of his second, I would say this is there. I do like his technique. He's very tight form.
Yeah, very tight through. Strong
Nicely
back.
done. Yep.
Very nicely done.
Never in doubt the whole pull through.
Very, very nicely done. Gets himself a little personal best there. And did he crack his personal best total? I think he may have.
Yeah, I think he did. And Ren Silu of Sri Lanka, if he doesn't get 305.
Oh, he's done so much work, and he was so good. And his
So good throughout the whole
deadlift
day.
looks so good. It's just grip.
Listen to that crowd
The whole
support him.
crowd wants him to get this on the board. Nobody wants to see anyone go. Your competitors don't want to see you go out like this.
Not like this.
Even if you're trying to beat them, they don't want to see you go out
Not
like this.
like this. Hold it, young man.
Hold it, hold it.
That should be good.
I think he's got it. It is.
3 white lights.
Yes, and he gets it on the board.
Nice ending.
Fantastic. Even Michael Bruce is smiling at him, giving him well done.
Now 312.5, equaling his personal best and giving a personal best total. Michael Bruce from Ireland.
Giving the bar a quick clean. So the bar needs to be cleaned between every lift on the third lift. So every single athlete gets equal opportunity.
Nice double
get a good
bicep
grip
from
on
that
that.
young man. Wow. The gun. And Michael Bruce looking to go 3 for 3 and finish the day with a personal best total. It's only 2.5 kilo over a second. Obviously on his second. Got a sense. Look, fellas, the end is near.
Oh, he's putting everything.
Moved it even better.
That is fantastic, and that gives him the personal best on the deads and on the total as well. Very nice way to finish. Yeah, you know there is some weight on an Alico bar when it flexes.
320.
Because those things do not flex easily.
No, sir, but the Irish in the crowd do. Sekhanovsky of Great Britain. Looking to finish his day. 20 kilo jump.
It's going to be a very tough pull. It's been a long day, running out of energy.
Oh, at the knees it stops. Wow, he's so strong lower back,
He did
though.
not quit on it, did he? You can see him.
Not without a fight, he
see
says.
the replay there. He puts the bar down, has a bit of a look at it, and goes, well, that wasn't meant to happen.
If you're watching the stream, you would have thought it was buffering because it stopped at his knees.
It did not move, and he puts the bar down.
Hey,
Gives a bit of a look.
325. Who do you think's coming up next?
Well, and the crowd right on cue.
Emil Gustafsson. 12.5 kilo jump, 12.5 kilo personal best.
Oscar Bjorn getting in his ear there. A few last minute instructions.
Whether he hits this or not, already has a PR total, already had the biggest day of his life. Giving that to the home crowd. He wants to go well beyond anything he's ever done. If the crowd can push him, they'll give it to him. Can he give it back? Nice show closer
walkout
for the young man.
And
3 white lights.
gets it on the board.
The hometown crowd appreciates. 3 for 3. Now 342.5 for Pavlenko. This is he's gonna finish slightly off of podium. Oh.
And we've got a change going in.
335 for Pavlenko. This will equal his personal best.
Yeah, not enough to push him onto a podium finish.
Nope. Keep him rested in 4th. Ukrainian team is looking around and telling themselves, if we could keep 4th, we got those points towards our team, and he'll be challenged even for those points in 4th. It's so tight.
Wow, that moved well.
Yep. I'd say it's good temp selection by the Ukrainians.
Yeah. That moved very well. He's happy with that.
He wasn't going to be able to pull onto the podium. It's realistic because 4th, very high in the rankings, is a lot of points for Team Ukraine.
Yeah.
And even at that, he's going to have to defend. And defend he did. He did his best. His work is done. And Mateus, nope, temp
We had a
changes.
change go in.
342.5 for Michael Laettner of Austria. I thought 322.5, 20 kilo below, moved very well. He's got a lot in the tank. This is going to be 7.5 kilo personal best.
Well, he's got plenty of people yelling for him.
He'll temporarily be in first for deadlifts, but there's a lot of deadlifters left to go. But we're expecting a high failure rate with third attempts because everyone's trying to jockey around for position.
He got it moving well off the floor, but
A little too much. Got a little dizzy there.
A little bit dizzy there. Moved it really well off the floor, but then just didn't want to keep going.
Karl, Peter Somerset of Norway, 350 kilos. It'll move him from 6th to 5th in a very competitive class. Norway trying to pick up some more points. He's pulled this before, but he's going to be totaling more than he ever has. So,
He's
in the other events,
this everything he's got.
yeah, he's never expended this much energy in one day. See,
It's moving. He's got it past the knees.
oh, heart, this
Needs
young
to
man.
Squeeze. Can he get it back?
Ah, no.
And just couldn't quite get to lockout.
Nope, close.
He gave it everything he had.
Shows his appreciation to the crowd. And they
And
give it back.
he gave that absolutely everything.
360 loaded on the bar right now. Back-to-back Polish lifters. Nope, 350, excuse me. Mateus. And then the second Polish lifter will be coming out. And this will move him in the deads temporarily into a gold medal position. And overall from 5th to 4th. And Team Poland stacking the deck with two top lifters in terms of collecting team points. Oh, it's shaky.
Oh, it's still moving. The grip's
That looks tough. When you look down,
going. Yeah.
you're looking for something.
Once you start to look down, yeah, you're searching. And there's nothing to search for.
Yeah, it's all on you.
Gave it everything he had. The coach is happy with that effort, though.
So Tony Cliff, 350. This is, historically speaking, well within his means. It'll cap him off at 920.
Yeah, look, it's under his personal best. He's made a decision. 350 it is.
I think he's going to go 9 for 9, and I think he's going to win these worlds with a masterpiece performance. And that's a nice way to cap it.
And thank you for the powerlifting clinic.
There it is, your world champion.
Big smile. He is so happy with that.
He literally just pieced together a masterpiece. Hats off to Tony Cliff, hats off to Team Britain, the coaching staff.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. We're seeing a change come in.
360. And yeah, there's a battle between Sadowski and Eric Willis for that silver medal. And it's going to take everything Eric Willis has, because I tell you what, his second deadlift was a grinder, and he's going up 20 kilo. Not without a fight, he tells the Polish team. Not without a fight.
If you want it, you're going to have to fight me for it.
You're going to have to pull it out of my hands. Let's hope that won't be the case, literally.
The gloves are off.
And he holds the dead to lockout. Mateus Costa, 352.5 kilo, 342.5. Moved well. It even moved better than his opener. As the weight increases, Costa is fighting new levels of intensity.
This is the big, big personal best, though.
Look at, he's got a bronze medal in deadlift. It'll move him temporarily into a gold. Excellent deadlifter. Podium finish in the deads. What color is his medal going to be?
He's got it moving well. Can he lock it? Not quite.
No, not quite right there.
Couldn't quite get it there.
Nonetheless, the bronze medal in deads is safe around his neck. And And
I hear another
Pietro.
change going in.
Oh, dropped it. Nope, 360. He was always 360. So Petra Sadowski of Poland pulling 360. This will move him from a bronze medal overall to a silver medal overall and put a lot of pressure on Canada's Henrik Willis. Henrik cannot miss his third dead if Sadowski hits his. Back-to-back pulls for silver.
Well, it always comes down to that last lift.
You know, the pole actually weighs more than Henrik, and if he hits this, and Henrik hits his, they're both even at 905. So he has to believe Eric's not going to hit his.
They've decided that 360 is pretty much the upper limit.
However,
we'll do our job, and we'll just have to wait and see.
They're just trying to push the Canadian beyond his means. And look at, they looked at Eric's second pull, and they told themselves, I don't think he's got it. I think we're pushing him beyond his means. We put any more in the bar, we might be pushing ourselves beyond our means. Fair play.
Never underestimate Henrik Willis, though.
Yep. Oh, no, hey. Sadowski.
He's got to get this on the board first, and it just doesn't want to move. Looks at the bar, says thank you very much, but it appears to be stapled to the floor.
Paul Johannes.
So
Hedrick.
Canada getting a change now.
From Germany, looking to fire up those rankings in the deadlift. It's a 22.5 kilo jump. He wants to move from 5th to 1st in the deadlifts.
And
that's
Henrik
ambitious.
Willis has put in a change to 377.5.
Oh,
he's going to try and pull for the gold.
Well, look at his silver is no longer in doubt.
That's right.
What a story that would be. Maria T all over again for Canada if he could pull that off. But first, Hedrick of Germany, 22.5 kilos on the bar for him.
And nope, just too much there.
You can't say he didn't give it his all.
He's okay. The guys know what they're doing there.
Yeah, it's lightheadedness and nothing more. Don't worry.
Now, not only is Willis going to pull 377.5 to try for the win, that will be a monster world record. The current world record, 372.
Listen. It seems highly unlikely, but I said that and thought that. Marie T missed her second on strength, upped her third, Hail Mary pass, won the world title. You can never count it out. I believe in anything at this point.
22.5 kilos over his personal best.
Well, the Canadian team have 2 miracles and 1 world championships. It would be a hell of a story. Canada's golden boy, Henrik Willis. And I tell you what, he risks nothing. Might as well load the bar. I'd love to see it. With the gold or on your shield, young man. Here he comes. Gutsy young kid. Nope, not today.
They've turned the gravity up on that one. That one didn't want to move. Look, it was a big chance. It was a big pull.
Yep.
Realistically, we knew the probability was extremely low of him getting that. But you know what? He wasn't risking anything. Why not? You never know. Sometimes adrenaline can do crazy things, and you might just get it on the board. But Tony Cliff, what a clinic he put on today. And Willis walks away with the silver, and he held on to that silver. He was challenged for it several times. Sadowski picks up the bronze. What a way to finish the 120s. Absolutely incredible.
If I had to summarize it, Tony Cliff, masterpiece. The handling of Tony Cliff, masterpiece. Not a single mistake. And if he was pushed and anyone really pushed him, he would have let loose. Who knows what his total would have been. Henrik Willis, gutsy. If I had to summarize his performance right up to the very end, holding on to the silver and saying, let's go for the gold. It was the right call to make.
Yeah.
He was risking nothing, and you never know what could happen. As for the other contenders, they stepped it up. They applied pressure and did their job.
There was pressure coming from everywhere. But what a way to finish. Tony Cliff, without a doubt, masterclass on Powerlifting 101 today. Absolute congratulations and a great way to win. Don't go too far away. Medal ceremony coming up, and of course at 1 p.m. local time. The 120 pluses, the Giants come out and hit the platform.